So welcome back, everyone. My next guest has also been on with me many times. I have with me Jason Treguboff. We just heard your ad. He is the owner of Treguboff Law. Where we're talking debt, right? I mean, it's not a fun topic, but it's an important topic because you can help people get that off that monkey off their back.
Yeah, yes. I'm always looking, to help people get a fresh start. And, with the economy and inflation, we're seeing a real influx of calls lately.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, a lot of people do get themselves into debt. And when it gets heavy and it's a lot, you don't know what to do. And a lot of people put their heads in the sand. They don't even want to deal with it. First off, I want to talk about the importance of using an attorney as opposed to trying to do it either on themselves, or by themselves, like get some documentation or whatever. Why call an attorney?
Well, as an attorney, myself and a lot of the other attorneys out there, we have a lot of experience doing it. I've been a part of probably 2,000 or 3,000 cases over the last 10, 15 years. There's a lot of other experienced attorneys out there, but we've seen a lot. We're up to date on the changes in the law. The law is constantly changing, and so property that might have been protected several years ago might not be protected now. There was a recent state Supreme Court decision that came down that held that RVs are no longer able to be protected as a homestead. Now we know lots of people in Arizona live in an RV as their home, and some of those are paid off. They're no longer protected from creditors.
Wow. Okay, that's why I love my show, because you hear stuff here that you may never hear somewhere else, right? And it gives you that opportunity to talk about things like that. This is important. I think it's important for someone to call an attorney such as yourself because, you just don't know what you don't know. You can make some big mistakes and it can end up costing you, right? Go ahead, tell me what you want to say.
Well, right, it can end up costing you. We like to say, there's enough information out there where you can do anything yourself, right? You can go on YouTube and find a video on anything. You can change your own transmission, right? You could rebuild it, but do you have the time to do that? Do you have the time to take to learn that and to do it yourself and then to make the mistakes? It's no different than in the legal realm. Do you have the time to learn everything and make the mistakes, or do you want to just hire a professional that's been through it and can help you through it?
But done right first time.
Correct.
Because if you do make a mistake and you file, sometimes you can't redo that mistake.
Oh, a lot of times you can't.
Right.
Especially in the context of Chapter 7, generally speaking, there's no going back.
Right, see, that's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you do want to make sure that you call an experienced attorney. His number is 623-680-6504. He does free consultations. He works statewide as well, and you can check him out on his website. It's Treger, Treger law.com. I think just making that conversation with him is the most important thing because, first of all, you're going to get just a little bit of relief just from talking because you're going to understand more, which I think that's important for people. You said that you want to talk about documents and what people need to bring to the plea.
Right. Before somebody files, one of the questions I always get is, well, what do I need? What do I need for my consultation? And
what do they need?
Overall, for the consultation, you're just going to need a good general idea of what your debts are, what your income is. But when you're getting your documents together, because when you actually get ready to file, there's documents we need. We need, 6 months of pay stubs. So, you need to, if you don't have those readily available, you need to go to your employer and start getting those because you're going to need them, and you're going to need pay stubs that you have after the filing of your case too. You're going to need those for your bankruptcy trustee. You're going to need your last 2 years of state and federal tax returns. You're going to need, a good 3 months of bank statements. If you have vehicle loans, we need the most recent statement, but we're also going to need a copy of the registration and proof of insurance because bankruptcy trustees require that we submit that as well. If you own a vehicle outright, we're going to need a copy of the title. Those are just some of the things we need, or a mortgage. If you have a mortgage, we need a copy of the statement. And, you know, a lot of people have solar out there. We need a copy of the statement and usually the contract as well.
So they need all of this information. When you have that consultation with them, obviously you give them a list of everything that you're that you need from them, right? Somebody wants to go BK, okay? How long does the process happen? Because, how long does it take for them to get that behind them so that they can now get that fresh start? What's the general amount of time?
You know, I'd say the general amount of time is probably about a week to file your case, depending on how fast you can get us documents. I mean, I file cases the same day, but that's just, it depends on how fast the client wants to go.
Right.
How soon, there's some things they have to do before they file. There's the bankruptcy code requires that they take a credit counseling class. It's an online class, takes about an hour, but it's a procedural hoop you need to jump through to be able to file. How soon can you get us the documents that we need? We need to run a means test to make sure that they qualify for a Chapter 7 if that's what they're filing, so we need the pay stubs.
I want to ask you a question. I was thinking about this while you were talking. Because a lot of people, it used to be a different story a long time ago. People got away with a lot more than they can now, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, people used to have credit cards and go on spending sprees and then go BK, right? You can't do that. That's a no-no. I wouldn't do it because you can get caught.
When you're looking at things like that, what they look at is what debts have you incurred in the last 90 days, and have you been incurring debts for what we would call luxury goods or services, things you never intended to repay. If that's the case, that's why you need an attorney. That's where we'll have that conversation. Maybe we delay a bankruptcy filing so we're outside that 90-day period.
That's why you talk to an attorney, because they know how to get around those loopholes, right? Let me ask you something also, too. Right now we're coming into the holiday time, right? And a lot of people think, okay, I don't know if I really want to do that now. When is the best time to do it?
The best time to talk to an attorney is now, because the best time for you might be now, it might be 6 months from now, it might be 2 years from now. I've talked to people. I just talked to somebody yesterday. The best time for them to file is going to be in another 2 years. But it's because they had certain real estate transfers between them and family members. We don't want to have to disclose those, so we have to get outside of a 2-year period.
Wow. So the best thing to do is have that consultation with you, find out where they are, because everybody's going to have a different story.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Every case is different. Everybody has a different story, but we need to know what that story is to be able to properly advise you.
Right. Now, his phone number is 623-680-6504. He works statewide, and he does free consultations. His website is Treger, Treger law.com. I do want to ask you the difference between going Chapter 7 or Chapter 13. What's the difference?
So, Chapter 7 is what most people think of as bankruptcy. Essentially what you do is you give up what we call non-exempt assets that are not protected under any statute. You give those up to a bankruptcy trustee in exchange for your creditors. It doesn't mean you're going to give up your house or your car, okay? Most people will be able to keep all of those things, but you give up what we call non-exempt assets. In a Chapter 13, you're making payments to a trustee, typically for 5 years. Again, that doesn't mean you're repaying all of your debts. Most Chapter 13s repay, I'd say, about 5% to the general unsecured creditors, like your credit cards and things like that. But most people, their biggest fear is, can I keep my house?
Right.
Can I keep my car? And the answer is yes, but you want to make sure that you talk to an attorney before you file.
There's still also people out there that feel like, I got myself into this debt. I'm responsible for it, so I'm going to pay it off no matter how I can, But I disagree, because I know that it was written in the Constitution.
Yes.
Right? Tell them about that,
Well,
real quickly, less than a minute.
Sometimes you're digging yourself a bigger hole. I've sat across the table from countless people who took money out of their 401k, liquidated their 401k, or took out a home equity line to pay off debts and bring everything current. And then they end up having to file bankruptcy 6 months or a year later, and they could have kept all of those things and gotten a fresh start, and been in a much stronger financial position going forward, had they talked to an attorney before they did those things.
Again, he does free consultations. It's so important. Don't put your head in the sand. Don't have that burden on you. You don't have to. You
No.
can get that fresh start, and you deserve it. Absolutely. So people, we deserve it. If you've gotten into it, you sure don't have that on your back anymore. You can call him direct at 623-680-6504. He does work statewide. He does free consultations. His website is Treger, Treger, law.com.